Welcome back, Merge members, to another week. What are we going to be talking about today, honey?
Well, the topic of jealousy was arose, so...
Yeah. I think that's a big one.
Jealousy?
I think that a lot of people don't know how to cope with jealousy in a relationship. And so that's what we're going to talk about today.
What is jealousy?
From my perspective, jealousy will be feelings of maybe insecurity mixed in with a little rage, anger, uncertainty, lack of trust. I would say it's a combination of all of those things, or some of those things, or at least two of those things at one time.
It's all of that at one time.
You think so?
It's an emotion that is triggered by all of those and more that comes together to make a person feel that way in the moment. And sometimes and territorial as well. Because, you know, a lot of people tends to be territorial, and that feeling allows them to feel like, you know, they don't want to share, or whatever they have is getting away from them, or possessive. Yes.
So, from your point of view, is jealousy a good or a bad thing?
That's a good question. Jealousy can be both good and bad. Being jealous assures a person that they are in love, or they have some form of feeling, or what the situation is. It's something real. Not that everyone has to get jealous, no, but jealousy is built into our software as human beings to make you feel some type of way.
Yeah.
I know jealousy comes in many different forms. It is something that, you know, allows you to know that you're in love, or allows you to know that there's feelings there for that person, or it's deeper than on the surface. You know, that's the good part.
Jealousy is a trait that it's a human trait, right?
Yes.
It's not something that we want to feel. It's not a good feeling.
The Bible said God is a jealous God. So if he can be jealous, then
anybody can be. It's not something that is praised. It's not a trait that is spoken well of. However, it's never said that it's a trait that you're not going to feel. No one ever said that you're not going to feel it. You're not supposed to feel it, right? If you're a human, jealousy is normal. So first of all, understand, if you've ever felt jealous, there's nothing wrong with you. You just have to learn how to channel that emotion so that it's not impactful in a negative way to your relationship.
Yes.
To do when you feel jealous? Well, I think the first thing is identify where the source of jealousy is coming from. Are you jealous because you feel that your sense of security is being threatened? You feel like your relationship really is at risk? Maybe you're jealous just because you just don't like the idea of something. Maybe someone is interested in your partner, or maybe you feel like someone is interested in your partner, and you may completely trust your partner and not feel that it's going to escalate, but it still pisses you off, you know?
Yes.
It still irritates you. So these are things that you can feel. However, it's very important that you figure out a healthy way to express that jealousy so that it doesn't turn your world upside down.
I also feel sometimes like there are different types of jealousy. Long-term jealousy, short-term jealousy. No, what do I mean when I say short-term jealousy? People get jealous in small pockets at times. It could be a look on a female that is passing, a look on a man that is passing when you're with your partner. It could be something so small and so short that happens in the moment, but it gives you a reaction, it gives you a feeling. Short-term jealousy, not a lot of people express that or talk about it, because you know that it's just passing.
Fleeting, yeah.
Yes, it's just passing, so sometimes there's not a need to address. And oftentimes addressing short-term jealousy leads sometimes to, small debacles, or, just small, you know,
Can.
situations. Because, for an example, if I see a lady passing and I, you know, my eyes locked onto that lady for a short instant, and Jay sees me doing that, I say, baby, why are you looking at her that way? Even though it's just for a stint, because that woman is moving on by her ways, you know, it still could cause a little bit of disruption.
And have we had that experience before?
No.
Okay.
I'm just using as an example. Long-term. Then there's long-term jealousy, where it might be a situation or a hidden relationship or something that a woman might feel is going on that might, you know, as Jay just outlined, that might threaten her, you know, her livelihood or her family or whatever the situation is. So
yeah, and the same thing for a man, you know.
Yes.
If you see something or even think that you've seen something, you know, we talk about this a lot. When it comes to your relationships, you want to pick your battles, because every battle that you think is worth fighting is not really worth fighting, because sometimes things are just miscommunicated, or, you know, things get lost in translation, especially in intercultural relationships sometimes. A person may say something or act in a certain way that you might interpret completely different.
yes.
And it's not to say that your reality was wrong. That's your reality. That's what you saw. That's what you felt. But on the other person's end, it could be something completely different. So we say that to say, if you are in a situation where you feel jealous, know when something is either fleeting or maybe not even what you think, and know when to actually have a real conversation with your partner about something.
Yes. And how do we deal with jealousy? A lot of people deal with jealousy differently. So is there really a blueprint to deal with jealousy? I would say it depends on the circumstance and the individual as well. Because always, you know, I would say always speak about the things that you feel that way about. I like it, just so it doesn't becomes an, you know, reoccurring event. Because a lot of times the other person might not know that it's something that make you feel that type of way, due to probably their upbringing or the way they do things or the type of person that they are. So sometimes it's good to outline certain things, or, you know, just to let that person be aware that, hey, I didn't like that. That made me feel some type of way. And jealousy is something that a lot of people keep down in them. It's tough for a lot of people to come out and say, that made me jealous. Why?
Yeah.
Instead, they prefer to put on some form of defensive mechanism and, you know, make it be something what it's not. A lot
Or
of
to
times,
just project.
yes, a lot of times, but instead of somebody saying, you know what, baby, I didn't like that, it made me feel jealous.
They'll say, next time you don't do this, don't wear that outside, or
It becomes argumentative.
or when a female walk your way, you need to look you know.
Yes. They normally put it on something else or deflect it instead of speaking what the true feelings is. Now, is it easy for a person to say, baby, you know what, that made me jealous and I don't like it. So, you know, if you could not do that again, or if you can be mindful when that happens, because my feelings are, you know,
Very much
triggered.
involved. Yeah, definitely. And you know, and obviously you shouldn't be with a partner that is intentionally trying to trigger you. You know, that's unhealthy. You don't want somebody that's like, oh, I know this pisses my man off, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I like the attention. No, because what are we here for, guys? We're here to build harmonious relationships. And you know, people think relationships are so difficult, but it's really not relationships. It's people who are difficult.
Yes.
It's us. It's humans. So if humans would stop being so difficult, right, and stop feeding into their ego and their short-term highs, you know, we all have short-term highs that maybe make us feel good. If a person feels good when they get that extra attention from their partner because they triggered their partner into being jealous,
Yes, there are people like that.
then they will continue to do it, and meanwhile they don't realize that what you're really doing is you're eroding your relationship, you're eroding your partner's faith in the relationship, and really you're hurting yourself if you really were looking for something long-term with this person.
Yes. And for a lot of people, jealousy is the beginning of many thoughts. Unfaithful, untrustworthy, cheating, all type of things jealousy is the gateway of those things. Because when a person gets jealous, they're actually mentally putting another person in that space. If we went to just short-term jealousy to say, okay, my partner was looking at that person, you have just injected another person in the space of your partner there. In a long-term jealousy situation, a person oftentimes would feel like, okay, I think my partner is either having relations with that person, or I feel like he like her, or it might be from the other angle. I think that woman likes my partner, or that man likes my partner, and I don't like how both of them frolic, or I don't like how they speak to each other, or whatever it is. That's you also injecting another person in that situation, or another person has been injected in your couple's space. So jealousy leads to a lot of things as well. Jealousy can lead to depression. Jealousy can lead to,
infidelity. Some people cheat because they want to be the first to do it. I think my spouse might cheat on me. Let me do that shit first. Or I think
I'm feeling jealous, so my spouse got to be doing something, so I might as well go and do this, because jealousy triggers that. When it could have been resolved by a conversation, or it could have been resolved by clarity, or it could have been resolved by outlining your feeling and telling that person how you feel and what makes you feel that way, so in your mind you won't start building scenarios and thinking about ways to get equal, if I must say.
Yeah.
So jealousy is a gateway to a lot of things, and a lot of feelings, a lot of emotion. There are cases that proves that jealousy leads some people to suicide. Jealousy is a crazy thing. When a person becomes jealous, they become frantic, some people. And you never know what the outcome of that might be. Jealousy makes some people violent. A lot of people that are in abusive relationships or things of that nature, jealousy is what sparks a lot of these abuse. Because a person, cannot deal with their spouse or their partner interacting, even leaving the house going on, being in a social setting by themselves. Where you at? I'm at the club. You're at the club, this and that. They can't deal with their spouse or their partner being away from them without having eye on them, for them to feel secure and not being jealous, or just to know that, okay, my spouse and my partner work here and deal with this person, or deal with persons, are in an environment where they are beautiful women, or good looking men, and they got to inject themselves into that situation on a daily basis. So before you sit down and have a conversation to say, well, babes, how do you deal with all these beautiful women being at the office? How do you keep your composure? Are you professional at work? Whatever it is. Or you might go to work one day and see somebody bringing him a coffee, bringing her lunch, whatever the situation is, and a work relationship situation, and not know what it is. And without asking, jealousy arrives. And then it becomes an argument, or it becomes something. And now that person has to go to work on a daily basis, has to, go in public on a daily basis. So how do you deal with that? Without a conversation. A lot of people hold that in, and it builds, and it builds, and it builds. Now your partner is at work and you're home planting because you're thinking, well, he must be sleeping with that person, or he must be doing him, or since he's doing him, I'm going to do me. And it allows you, that level of jealousy drives you to step out and do something stupid, silly, or something that you will regret long term.
Yeah, so jealousy is something that you have to be careful about. And the best way to deal with jealousy is, number one, understand that there are going to be times where you might feel a little bit jealous, right? Acceptance is your number one friend. Once you accept that, once you have those feelings of jealousy, now you're aware, right? Instead of being triggered, you can just be aware and say, okay, I'm feeling a little jealous. And before you even take it to your partner, do some self-assessment. Everything starts with you, right?
Yes.
It's not, it's not two people that make a whole. It's two wholes that make a whole when it comes to people in a relationship. You need to come to the relationship with a good sense of self and a good foundation internally. And it's not too late if you've already selected your person, but you still have some more self-work to do. You just have a little bit more work to do now, because now you're balancing self-work with your relationship work. But number one, understand that it starts with you. Do some self-assessment. Ask yourself, why do I feel jealous? Is my jealousy warranted, or is it misconstrued? Am I jealous just because maybe I'm a little insecure about what could be going on? Or am I jealous because this person has given me solid reason, evidence, and red flags, and a track record to show that this is a person that I can't trust? And ladies, for those who are, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are not yet committed to someone, make sure, and this is the best way to minimize jealousy in a relationship, get with somebody that you trust, right? It doesn't mean that you won't sometimes feel jealous, but at least if you already trust that person, you dated this person, you all have had those conversations, you asked the questions, and you build a rapport, and you feel like, okay, this is somebody that I can trust. Well, you've done kind of the hard part, because now in the relationship you can kind of relax. You don't have to overthink everything, and you know, I think that's a really good foundation for not being overly jealous.
Yes, and one of the things that helps is knowing that, because there's many different, you know, ways of feeling jealous. But when it comes to relationship, always tell yourself that whatever you feel, whenever you're feeling jealous, tell yourself that whatever you're feeling jealous about is yours. A lot of times people forget that. A lot of times, you know, we allow ourselves to feel some type of way because we don't own the things that we have. And if you have something and you think that it's special and you adore it and you love it, you must always remember that if you love it and you see it and you admire it, it might be admired by someone else. The difference with you and that person is it's yours.
Okay, that's powerful.
Does that make any sense?
Definitely.
That's the difference. That's the big difference right there. That it's yours. That person is yours. That person is with you. That person, you know, is there for you. That person is who you're going home with, and that person is, you know, might be committed to you. If it's a marriage, or if it's a relationship, or whatever it is, that person is committed to you. So always think of that. Always put that thought in your head and let that warm your heart whenever it comes down to jealousy.
And I'm actually glad you said that, because you know what? If you take this perspective that just introduced, right? You can always say, if this is mine, I have the most leverage.
Most definitely.
And the truth is, nobody's gonna have more leverage than you. And I think it's misconstrued that, if I'm in a relationship, you know, maybe I still have to compete with all the single people out there, so I still have reason to worry. It's no single person out there that's gonna have more leverage than you have.
Yes.
Why? Because you know this person. You know, you're close to this person. And I mean, sure, many other things that tie people together. So tell yourself it's your responsibility to a certain degree to maintain what you have. And that goes for both parties. I think it greatly minimizes jealousy in a relationship when you know that you're bringing forth your best self, right?
Yes.
You know that you're being the best partner that you can be. And, you know, even if you have areas that you need to improve in, you're actively working on them. Every day may not be perfect, but you are always working on your relationship and how you show up in your relationship. Yes. If you are literally the best version of yourself in your relationship, you don't have a reason to be jealous, because guess what? If your partner decides that your best was not good enough for them, and they decide that something else out there is better for them, that should be no sweat off your brow. No. Why? Because that was out of your control, and you should never worry about things that you can't control.
And that's why building confidence helps with jealousy. It won't eliminate it, but it helps a lot. And that's why a lot of confident people would say, well, I'm not a jealous person. or but everybody is created
to feel jealousy at some point.
To feel certain types of emotion at certain points, and jealousy is one of those emotions. But if you are confident in yourself, confident in knowing that what you have is yours, because a lot of people, jealousy comes from what's in life, not even relationships. A lot of people, jealousy comes from what's not theirs. They will see a person with something and say, "Oh, does that person have that?" And then become jealous of that situation. Different level of jealousy, but jealousy nonetheless. But in relationship, the jealousy that you feel is different from that scenario that I just outlined, but it's jealousy nonetheless. So helping to build your confidence, knowing what you have is yours, knowing what you have belongs to you and is committed to you, and you are committed to that or that person, helps with it. And always reward yourself with a smile whenever you think when you think that. If you're in a situation where you feel somewhat type of way, and sometimes it depends, as I said, jealousy hits you from different angles sometimes. It might be a person pursuing the person that you're with, or trying to flirt with your person, or whatever the situation is. That will determine the person that you're with character. So sometimes that is to be questioned differently from being feeling jealous, because sometimes
it's a character flaw.
It's a character flaw
on your partner's side.
Yes.
So know the difference, right?
It's so complex.
Yeah.
Jealousy and feeling jealous is so complex. It comes from different angles, and it's all different type of way that could. There's a lot of things that could trigger that. There's a lot of things that could trigger that.
But I would say, make a list, right?
Yes.
Make a list of your deal breakers when it comes to, your partner, and the things that you may be a little bit more adaptable with. Say, for example, my number one deal breaker is I will not tolerate a man that's going to cheat on me, right? So if that's a deal breaker for you, some women it's not, because there are women out there that believe that all men cheat. So with that perspective, I think it's more of an acceptance. But for women who don't believe that, and women who have a zero tolerance for that, right? That's a conversation you have with your partner, and you say, that's not something that I'm willing to tolerate. And that's the point where your partner says, all right, well, we probably not compatible because I like to roam. Yeah.
Yes,
or he might say, okay, I can respect you on that level, and I can meet you there because I expect the same from you, and I'm able to hold up my end of the bargain.
Yes.
So make a list of deal breakers, go over them with your partner, and if there's anything that y'all disagree on, now's the time to decide where you're flexible and where you're not flexible. I'll give you a personal example. For me, when I met I noticed he likes to use the word mama, and he uses it with every woman he encounters. Ironically, when he first mentioned me in that way, I thought it was so hot, and I was like, oh, okay. But then I quickly realized, no, this is not for me. This is a part of his how he greets people. And I had to realize I was adaptable. Once I realized that it wasn't malicious, and these are growing pains that couples have to go through.
Also, babe, I knew that that's something that made my lady feel some type of way because she asked me about it, or it was brought to my attention. It made me aware to minimize it a lot, until I think at this point now I do way better. But where I'm from, that's just a regular greeting towards a female. It's a sign of respect, also as a sign of just how we greet female.
And once it was clear that, this is a cultural thing, that's when I said, okay, this is something that I can adapt to. So I used that personal example, and I hope that was a good example. I don't know if it was or wasn't, but I used that example, ladies and gentlemen, to say, make a very clear, defined list off of what you absolutely won't tolerate versus what might make you feel jealous or questionable about your partner's actions. However, you realize, okay, that's something I don't necessarily have to trip about. Once you have your list of non-negotiables, your deal breakers that you are absolutely not flexible on, and you have that conversation with your partner, now it's your partner's time, and these are for the things that you're not flexible on. This is your partner's time to make adjustments. Because if your partner does not make adjustments on the things that are total deal breakers for you, that could be an indication that maybe you two are not going to be compatible. Because that could be an indication of more road bumps, more speed bumps ahead for you guys, or turbulence, I should say.
As people, to some people, jealousy for some people is strong. When I say it's strong, meaning some people have trouble with that due to their confidence level. And it's very rare. It's very rare that a man is going to meet a woman or a woman is going to meet a man, and that's going to be part of the introduction for a woman to tell a man, you know what, I'm a jealous person, and you know, certain things triggers my jealousy, or you know, I feel jealousy because of this, or I'm jealous because of that. It's rare that people talk about that in the beginning or the introduction of a relationship. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing to do.
Yes, guys. In short, the way to deal with jealousy is just communicate. Over communicate. Talk. Be transparent as you can. Get to know your partner to a level where certain things don't bother you. You know, get to know your partner to where you kind of know their intentions. You know their habits. And it's not to say that, you know, you can know a person good enough to make yourself painful. That's not possible, you know. Humans are fallible. But the best thing you can do is communicate to the point where you and your partner know each other well enough to where jealousy does not have to take the front seat in your relationship. Last but not least, try to find ways to use jealousy to your advantage. You know, the thing about life is it's always going to be things that make us feel uncomfortable. There's always going to be things that we don't like. How can you create the life that you want? How can you use negative emotions to your advantage? So an example of that would be, maybe you did see somebody checking out your girlfriend or your boyfriend and it pissed you off, but you can't, you know, y'all are already on your way and you can't go curse the person out who did it, so you gonna curse your girlfriend or your boyfriend out because that's the person closest to you. Well, you know, maybe channel that energy into passion and use that to realize, damn, I have a sexy partner. People find my partner attractive. I did good. Now let's go home and
figure it out.
I mean, that's just one way to put a spin on things.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Sometimes that jealousy could be channeled into into a nice, exactly, into a nice night of passion, or into some things that, you know, the other person might be like, you know, hey babe, where you get that fire from? You know, that might be something that probably light a fire in you if you use it positive and not negative.
Yeah, so that's just a different perspective, a perspective shift for you guys that need it. But I think that's it. So I don't gotta be proper, babe. Go ahead.
Okay, well that's it, and it's not that good.
Alright guys, so that's all we have for you this week, but we will be back as always next week with some fresh content. So thank you again for being a Merge Club member, and we will see you then.
Merge Club.
Peace out.
Are you me lover, you me want to be my only cheek. Girl, give me your finger, me have to put a ring on it. Night nurse, me addicted to your nightly trick. Never get a loving like this, like this.